Well, good morning to the 2025-2026 season at Blue Mountain. That's right, I'm back, baby. Blue Mountain. I love it here. And this year I've got a special announcement. I'm part of a group of people that are on the social media ambassador team. That's right, we're a group of people that are going to be looking behind the scenes of Blue Mountain and day-to-day activities and all kinds of cool stuff, including the 5x7 event that's happening tonight. Take an early season peek at Blue Mountain and see what the first week has in store for snow quality.
Happy season, boys!
Well, way to start it, eh?
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
All right, coming off the first chairlift today is Voyager, and you're going to see below it Big Baby. Also on the left-hand side here is the Enchanted Forest. It was a windy day at Blue today, so we're going to be rocking a bunch of voiceovers. The quality isn't that bad. I mean, check it out. It's actually the best I've seen in many, many years. You'll see a little grass popping up there. That's totally normal this time of season. The big thing is, this is a completely covered ski run right now. Check this out. This has not been this good in many, many years. Mother Nature sometimes just doesn't want to play. Blue Mountain does have good snowmaking quality. Unfortunately, you have to have a certain temperature to make that snow. Look on the side of these trees though. We got this fluffy stuff stuck on the side. We have some ice and stuff from some of the snowmaking machines. How scenic.
Alrighty, we've got one run down and it's starting to dump out. This is going to be interesting. So it wasn't supposed to snow that much. So we'll see what my drive home is like tonight. So the base right now here, it's way better than last year, okay? Like way better than last year. A little bit icy still, so you want to be careful. Like I see some like little tree, like, well not trees, some little grass sticking up and stuff. So you want to be careful for that kind of stuff. And remember, it's the start of your season. So because it's the start of your season, you have to be careful and take your time. Your ski legs are definitely not back in yet. I know mine aren't back in yet. Even though I just spent a few days out in Whistler, you still respect every mountain you're on like it's the first time you've been on that mountain, because the conditions at every mountain are always different. Heck, they're always different for every day. Now I've been told by a lifty that perhaps this weekend we're going to have all of the mountain open. Can you believe that? If we have all of the mountain open, this is going to be intense. Now, because it's snowing so much, probably the visuals are going to degrade on this video. Sorry for that. We're going to make a short, sweet video on the conditions and stuff like that, but unfortunately the Insta360 camera is not the best camera for snow conditions. However, because I am part of the partner program this year, the ambassador program with Blue Mountain, we do get a new GoPro camera to use, which is so awesome because GoPro cameras are just the best to use when it's snowing like this or in low light. They destroy an Insta360 camera. The Insta360 is good for some things, but no camera or no technology is the best for everything, and that's why you need a full arsenal to make sure you cover everything at the mountain. Now you might see some of these caution signs at Blue Mountain when they pop up. I highly recommend you pay attention to those signs. A few years ago I didn't, and there was a creek underneath one. My skis went into it and I went flying. It was not that fun, landed on my thumb. Completely my fault because I should have listened to the sign and I didn't quite understand what was underneath it. And that's the whole thing, you don't know what's underneath it. So just be careful and don't go near them. There's a reason they stuck them up there, and it's probably because it's going to get you hurt.
This chairlift is Southern Comfort, and check this out. There's complete snow on those trees on the right-hand side. You don't normally get that at this time of year. And I love coming through this part because it's all like, you know, foresty and stuff like that, and it's such a cool view. At some point, I'd like to come back in the summer and take a hike through those woods. Now we're going to head down to Cruiser, which is basically the blue run directly below the lifts we just did. Now the nice thing about this lift is at the very top there you can get beaver tails, which is kind of a nice little snack spot. And there's a beautiful view of the water, which is Georgian Bay out in the distance. You know what's kind of cool too? When there's ice on Georgian Bay, like you can kind of see there up in the corner, when there's ice in Georgian Bay, I pretend it's clouds and I pretend that we're up on the mountains like in BC, and it kind of gives that feeling, which is pretty nice. You know, you don't push it too hard on your first days and you get used to your ski legs again.
Well, that was definitely a mix of conditions.
Next is Dr. Doug, another blue run that's going to bring us back to the same lift we just did after Cruiser. Now the cool thing about Dr. Doug is it's kind of this like neat little like thin slalom run with an S-bend at the end. But the neat thing we noticed last year was in between Dr. Doug and Cruiser are these glades called Old South Glades. And I don't know if they were like an original glades because up at the top there is one of the original chairlifts or what the deal is, but it looks like a really fun area to go adventure one time. Heading back over to this chairlift, you basically have a choice of doing Dr. Doug or going around the outside on a separate run. I prefer Dr. Doug, but sometimes it's a little bit mogly, so you always want to make sure you choose the conditions that are best for you and for your knees. Going back up that chairlift, we came over to the split. So on the right hand side is Dr. Doug, and the left hand side here is L Hill. Now L Hill is kind of weird because there's a stunt park called L Hill as well. It's usually the ski cross course. Now that would be up top right now on the right hand side of the screen. You can see it right there. And that's usually either a mogul run or the end of the ski cross course. At the bottom you have two choices. You can either go through this piece right here, or on that right hand side you can take a really steep part around. It's not open right now, but I prefer that to get through. New this year at Blue Mountain are these red poles, which is supposed to help guests separate themselves or see where there's gaps in the line so we can fill up the chairlifts a little bit faster. Now coming Silver Bullet Express, you can see it has excellent snow cover this year. I mean, that run right there behind us last year was like basically completely exposed to the elements. It was not that good. But this year, check this out. It's so amazing. Really, really nice snow quality. And if we keep getting dumps like we had earlier, it's going to be a banger year. Smart Alec was really nice. Now in Smart Alec, I prefer to stay at the sides near the trees than going down the center. I find the center gets a little bit chopped up, but if you stay to the side on the trees, it's actually a really fun, really fast run. At the end of the Smart Alec is the village, where you're going to get a mix of all kinds of people, from skiers to beginners to tourists.
Oh, check this out. The stunt park's right here right now. That kind of threw me off.
They only had about 3 boxes and maybe 5 jumps. It wasn't that big, but it's enough to, so the kids can jump around and have a little bit of fun. This is the small stunt park area where they have a lot of the beginner ones. There's also on the south side the large one, which has pretty big jumps, as well as also little ones. Now check this out. Look at this little marker here, this orange thing. Behind it, look at that creek right there. Now that's what I was talking about at the start of the video when I went into one of those by accident a few years ago and hurt my thumb, because I didn't see the warning. I'm now over at the farthest north that is currently open, Happy Valley. Now if you take a look here, you do see some brown spots. This is probably the least coverage on the entire mountain. And Happy Valley is kind of like, it's a fun beginner area, but it's also a fun area as long as you stay away from people to kind of like rip around. It's not that bad. It's a fun little adventure. But look down here. There's all kinds of exposed areas at Happy Valley, and most of the runs directly below the chairlift that they set up for race season are all closed and were being monitored by ski patrol. Case in point, look at the orange barrier over there. That whole area is currently closed off. Now, I'm assuming they also want to keep it pristine because they want to keep the base good for the race season. Those are some of their primary race courses, and that totally makes sense. Now I'm heading back to the village for the special 5x7 event. This is the VIP event where they're giving everyone some free swag. There's music, Red Bull, ski demos, hot chocolate, cookies. But before that, we have to go through the adventure area of the village. This has all kinds of cool climbing courses and a roller coaster that's kind of reminiscent of their cool slide they had years ago that was at the end of Sesame Street. Now coming into the village, you always want to stay far away from the little kids and everyone and people walking around, but here we are coming up to the 5x7 event. After a quick bio break and a glass of water in the lodge, I headed over and lined up for the event. They had this cool DJ truck playing all these awesome beats from Red Bull, as well as a crew of Red Bull walking around, and awesome staff giving out these really awesome cookies from a cookie store in the village, hot chocolate with as much marshmallows and everything else you could possibly need. What an amazing day at Blue Mountain.